In this video, I'm going to go over why I stopped taking AI agency clients for under $5,000. And in this video, I'm going to go over the exact step-by-step roadmap on how you can change your offer and why you should stop taking clients for under a $5,000 ticket size and start charging more for your deliverables. And so first, I like to look at the amount of time that we have and the amount of effort that it takes to close a deal that is less than $5,000 and a deal that's actually $5,000 or more. So when you look at it, for a purchase that is $1,000 or more, between a $1,000 to $5,000 and $5,000 more, it requires a sales call, right? People currently buy from people, can't buy from AI yet, and they want to understand the product or service that you offer, and they definitely want to speak to a salesperson about it. So regardless of the ticket size that we're selling, low ticket or high ticket, between $1,000 to $5,000 or $5,000 or more, is we require a sales call. And these sales calls usually span an hour of time. So between low ticket and high ticket here, selling $5,000 or less or $5,000 or more, takes an hour of our time to get on a sales call to close a deal, right? When we're selling something less than $5,000, there's going to be low commitment, right? And that's going to come from the value. So for your prospect, something that is $5,000 or less versus $5,000 or more, the perception in their mind on the value to them, what $5,000 is the commitment that there is, right? If something is like, $1,000 or less, or between $1,000 and $1,000 to $2,000, the commitment is lower than spending $5,000, right? If I spend $5,000 today, I'm going to make sure my investment is worthy you rather than $2,000. It's a less of a commitment, right? Just because of the ticket size, the value of it. And so when you sell something under $5,000, let's say between the $1,000 to $2,000 range, or even a little bit more, is because that the commitment is lower, the LTV of your client is going to be less. So let's say you're selling a monthly retainer, 1,500 or something like that, then chances are for most agencies, they only stay with you for 2 to 3 months, right? You're often in a burn and churn cycle where you sign on a client for 2 3 months. Every month you start over, and you're reliant on signing on these clients under $5,000 over and over again. And if you don't have a life cycle to where you can consistently sign on these clients, then you're not going to be able to scale your business. And so you're dealing with very low commitment clients with a very low LTV. If they stay on for 2 to 3 months max, and then they leave. From here, there's also no upsell opportunity because they're very reliant on the product or service that you offer that within that first month, because you're offering them like a monthly retainer, for example. They're thinking, okay, I need to make an R return on investment this first month. But for a lot of clients, this is the first time that they're doing a product or service with you. And so they're not going to see as great of results as in the second month or the third month, right? Maybe they've done no AI or any online marketing before. Now is the first time they're actually doing something. It's a big jump from here to here. And so maybe them as a business, their skill set, their training, they're not there yet. Right. But they're relying on you to deliver this home run result. Whereas in reality, for each person, it might take longer than just 1 month. Right. So their expectation is very high, even though you've charged them so little, right? Less than $5,000. So while you might close a client, let's say like at $1,500 per month retainer, let's say they stay for a maximum of 3 months, right? You make $4,500 for an hour of your time, right? You spend an hour to make $4,500, right? Now, comparatively, let's say you're only signing on high ticket clients at $5,000 or more. You're still spending that same 1 hour of time. Anything that's $5,000 or more requires a high commitment, right? Because I would imagine I wouldn't do $5,000 one time. I wouldn't do a $5,000 monthly retainer. I would do a $5,000 setup for a 3-month period, right? Is anything that you're selling for a high ticket, you also want to garner a high commitment from your clients, right? So just by default, having a higher value of things, they're going to have a higher commitment, right, and higher LTV. So they're going to stay for 3 months minimum instead of 3 months maximum that you would see from selling somebody that's $5,000 or more. And so with the same hour or time you close a deal, I would recommend that you don't just charge $5,000, is you have a model of $5,000 plus the rev share. So what I did is I charged $5,000, and for every job that is closed, I receive a commission of $500. So with one close at $5,000, my money that I made just stopped right there, right? Is that if I perform better and they had results generated, that they would want to continue, right? That I would make more money. But also is when you comparatively have like a monthly retainer, $1,500 or $2,000 versus $5,000 plus a rev share, they're thinking, well, even though the $5,000 more is, they think, well, you want a rev share. That means you're going to perform and get better and want to earn more. Right? There's a higher ceiling. There's a higher commitment even from your end. Whereas monthly retainers is pretty common for people to just sign on someone $1,500, $2,000 a month and then just let nature take its course. Right? So at one close, let's say on average, I sign them on for 3 months for $5,000. And I also have a rev share. So one close to $5,000 and they close, minimum 3 jobs per month, right? I deliver as well, and they close. The skill set's there. I have a minimum of 9 closed jobs, and for $500 per close, I make $4,500. $4,500 was for your $5,000. It's for the same hour of time that I close from this client of a higher LTV, and this client actually makes me $9,500, nearly $10,000. So when you look at the amount of time that I spent to close a client, or the effort that I've expended, for the same effort, I'm making nearly double the revenue. And that's exactly what I saw in my business. Is I would continuously just sign on some clients on a lower ticket monthly retainer between $1,000 and $2,000, and then I would also sign on clients for $5,000 and more. I realized that it's much more worth my time to sign on a client that's $5,000 and more. The trade-off of my time is better, right? But more so is, what's the difference between a client that's $1,500 versus a client that's $5,000, right? If you've sold a product or service at different price points, you're going to immediately tell the difference between someone who has a very high, the lower the ticket I've seen is the higher expectation that they have, right? So it's an inverse correlation where a client that they can't spend much, the amount of money that they can spend, they want to make the most out of it. Whereas for $5,000 for one client is like $5,000 is just normal, right? They do have a high expectation, but they have more patience, right? Because when you put them at a $5,000 3-month plan versus a $1,500 month-to-month plan, they think, well, I have 3 months, right? I'm committing to 3 months. Versus the other client is say, I'm committing to 1 month, right? And they want the lesser client wants to hit a home run. Whereas while the other clients, they have more patience, right? And so I'm here going to see that from my experience, that on a $1,500 client is you 4 hours, you got to spend at least 4 hours per month and manage them. Each week they're calling you, texting you, wanting to know what's going on, blah, blah, blah. It's just spending 4 hours of time to manage a $1,500 client. And I have a very short-term expectation that you're going to hit a home run for them the first month. And so when you look at the trade-off for time on the 1 hour that you spent already on the sales call, the 4 hours managing them to make the $1,500 that month, is you're trading $300. You're making $300 per hour of your time, right? You're trading your time for money. And also the chance of success on that first month is pretty 50-50, right? They get to the end of the third week, the first month, they're there to tell you, will I want to continue? Will I don't? Right. And sometimes you might generate them good results, but their perception of the home run that you sold them is so high that even if they might have generated good results, they even profited or made 2-3x ROI, they're still like, well, the communication wasn't great, or well, this and that, and they were still churn. So while you might have good results, doesn't mean they'll stay. So I would often face a 50-50 chance of success, even when I did succeed with the clients. Whereas if you send a client for $5,000 more, I'm spending actually less time. I see that I only spend pretty much an hour time with them per month, right, on management. And so they say, hey, here's their performance for the month. Let's compare the second month. Right? They have a longer term expectation. And so my trade-off of time with an hour on the sales call, an hour managing them, comes out to be minimum of 2,500 an hour. Nearly 8x. I'm making 8x more per hour than signing on someone for less than $5,000, right? And also the chance of success is 3x. Someone that I signed for $1,500 for 1 month, because while I'm not starting from zero every single month, is I have 3 months to get the same result, to get the ROI that they need to see to continue. So I have 3 times the chance of success by signing on a client that is worth 3 times as much more, right? But the reason this happens isn't just from my experience. It comes from the 80-20 rule, also known as the Pareto principle, which says that 80% of the effects come from 20% of the causes, right? 80% of the results that you generate in 80% of the revenue that I'm generating in my agency actually comes from the 20% of clients that spend $5,000 or more. I don't scale an agency because I sign on a whole volume of $1,500 per client, as I've seen that the reason my agency has been able to do so well is I consistently sign on these A players that have a high commitment and spend $5,000 or more at once. And there's a rev share, and they actually continue. So if you're in a similar position, you're offering monthly retainers and you're also wanting to charge more, it's a no-brainer to charge more. You're going to have higher LTV clients. And if you want us to work with you one-on-one to build out your offer and help you scale to $10,000 per month or more in the first 90 days, click the link below to sign up, and we're going to see if we're a good fit.